Hi, good afternoon. This is Aley at Heart and Soul Connected, and I'm pleased to have Aquarius Builder, Tish. Is it Tish? Tisha.
Tisha.
Which one? Tisha, who has graciously done my astrological chart and is here to talk about it this evening. I had a chart done on my karma before, but I've not had this on all the other aspects, and I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of you being here and doing it because I know you're a busy lady.
Oh, I enjoyed doing it. Thank you for letting me do it.
Of course. And you are in an astrology class right now, working, and you will eventually be hanging out a shingle, so to speak, for people to get theirs done.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
All right.
Supposed to graduate in November, so.
Okay. That's awesome. And what made you want to do astrology?
Actually, I've been into astrology my whole life.
Uh-huh.
And when I was actually 18 or 19, I went to college and I really got hooked on it. The problem was that I got really frustrated because back in those days, you had to draw out
Oh, yeah.
the whole chart and then you had to make the calculations with geometry and algebra.
Right.
And I suck at algebra.
Me too. I would
So
go nuts. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I just got too frustrated. And you had to
I
look
look it all up.
everything up and put it in its place. And,
Yeah.
it was just, I remember the first chart I made, it took me like days
Oh, wow.
to figure out where all the planets were and put it in the chart. And I was just so frustrated. So I gave it up.
Well, I don't
And
blame you. It reminds me of 1990. I learned how to do taxes, and we did it all by hand. And I would never have survived 30 years doing it as a part-time job if it wasn't in a computer where it just put everything where it
right.
needs to go. So thank God for technology, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
I didn't even realize that the astrology, like the technology was there now
Uh-huh.
until last year.
Oh,
And
okay.
I came across an astrologer on YouTube and I just got hooked.
Sure.
And, she was like, oh, there's all these software programs out there now. You can do a chart in 30 seconds. And I was like, what? What?
Especially after your last attempt at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So
Oh,
I was
wow.
excited and
Yeah.
I just got hooked. And so I joined her college. A
Uh-huh.
lot of the astrologers have their own college.
Oh, okay.
And what they do is they partner with other astrologers because
Hmm.
everyone kind of comes from different backgrounds and different viewpoints and they have strengths of what
Sure.
fascinates them.
Uh-huh.
And I love it. I love the college I'm in. And I'm not, they say astrology, you never stop learning.
Right. I
So
wouldn't
this is
imagine
a
you would.
lifelong
Yeah, lifelong
journey.
pursuit. So will you have your own college eventually?
Oh, I don't know about that. But I'll definitely be a student for life.
Sure, of
So
course. Good for you. Well, I think that that's what keeps us young and keeps our brains sharp for sure. So that's
exactly.
awesome. Yeah, great.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
and I realized last year, now that I'm doing astrology, why I started awakening last year is because I
Mm.
was having a lot of returns
Oh,
happen. I turned
okay.
50 last year, so
Yep.
I was having a lot of returns come back, and I still wasn't going the path that, I had
Yes.
agreed to go on. And so the universe was really shoving me,
And it
like, hey, wake up.
yep, it does. I remember them saying to me, or something saying to me, whether it was that or, you're going to lose, you got to use what you know from your past lives and in this life, use your time wisely because, you may lose this and have to start from scratch and didn't want to do
Exactly.
that. Didn't want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, good.
exactly.
Yeah. There's something that happens is it at 49? There's a return, not the Saturn, because that's at 29, right? And 58. That's that's a
Yeah, it sounds
Saturn
right.
return.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
isn't there's a couple of them I think that take
there's a
about
couple
50.
of returns
Yeah.
that
Okay.
happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're the really important ones, kind of happen when you're 18, 19.
Hmm.
Then they happen, then the next set will usually happen when you're somewhere around 28 to 35,
Right.
depending on. And then the next one that happens somewhere around 50, being 48 to
Right.
55. And
Uh-huh.
then the next one you have is, in your 70s,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah. You're always getting a test. You're always getting tested, and you're always being assured that you're going on your right path, or else you're gonna,
Right.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Wow, I love that. Thank you.
Well, it was an honor to do your chart. You really have a fantastic chart for me to learn as a student, to really
Okay.
tear into and learn. It was
Wonderful.
very challenging, I guess is what I want to say, which I
Okay.
love
All
because
right.
that really gives me the experience.
Uh-huh.
The one thing that really stuck out with me in your chart was that you've got 2 stelliums.
Yeah,
And
no
I
one's
just,
ever told me that before, and after you explained it's three, more than three
3 or
planets
more planets
in
in the same house.
in the same house. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have 3 of them?
You have 2 of them.
2 of them.
Yeah.
And one
And
of them is in,
you have it in your 8th house,
okay,
and then you have it in your 10th house. And your 8th house is Leo,
right?
and it's about birth and it's one of the most magical and mysterious houses.
Really?
The 8th, the 4th,
Okay.
and the 12th
Okay.
are the most mysterious houses.
Mhm.
And so to have a stellium there is fascinating to me,
Wow.
you know, and so I was like really trying to dig into it and find
Uh-huh.
out
Good.
everything.
All
And
right.
then the other one that you have in your 10th house, which is your public career. And once I found out after I had done this and you told me you were a professor, I just was blown away because I'm like, oh my God, she is hitting that mark big time.
Right. Yeah.
You
And
are
I started
using those
late.
planets.
I started really late. It wasn't until I was in my 40s that I started teaching, but I knew I had to do it my whole life. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the universe was pushing you.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, yep. No, when you
I mean,
wrote that to me, I said, oh my God, I didn't know it was that obvious. Isn't it also, it's higher education in that one? Is
yeah,
that right?
yes.
And is it death and, no, taxes? Is it
No,
also?
that's
No.
your 8th house.
Oh, see, I did taxes all those years as well.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I
So
knew
that's
some of those
probably,
things.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably where your Pluto, Jupiter, and Uranus come in on your
Uh-huh.
8th house,
Okay.
taxes, money.
Mm-hmm. Other
So
people's money though, right?
yeah,
Not mine.
right,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Because
Other
I was a
people's money.
banker and a mortgage lender as well. So
Yeah,
yep. Mhm.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sure does.
And then the 10th house, you know, you being a professor, having your sun, Venus, because the passion to
Right.
be a professor, to teach higher education,
Right.
you know, your
Uh-huh.
Neptune and your Mercury. I mean, it's just like,
Communication. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it was just
Yeah.
fascinating.
It
I
is.
really enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you. I think it's wonderful that you're explaining to me some things that I knew, but I didn't really know. Like I didn't know
Yeah.
about
Stelliums.
stelliums. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
You
realize
got
that.
2.
I know.
You know, it's very rare for most people to even have 1. So
Oh,
for you to
okay.
have 2, I mean,
Wow.
that's like,
I
yeah,
feel very special.
yes, you should.
Yeah. Very good.
Very awesome.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you had asked me, one thing I did want to say to your members that are watching is constantly what I see on YouTube is a lot of people have a misunderstanding of their ascending sun and moon.
Mhm.
The ascending is really important in your
Yeah.
horoscope, natal chart. I mean, anytime you're looking at a horoscope, you should really be looking at your ascending sign
Right.
because that is who you project to the world of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
And the sun is what you're aspiring to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's your soul. That's your soul.
Okay.
And that's your soul's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone's going to see that.
Okay.
So I know when I got hooked on astrology when I was 18, 19, I would be reading Sagittarius horoscopes because I'm a sun Sag.
Right.
And I'd be like, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me.
Uh-huh.
And then when I got into the astrology and found out, oh my gosh, I'm in a ascending rising Cancer. Now that's me.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You know,
very
and
different.
then I have an Aquarius moon and my moon rules my chart.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yep.
you know, my moon has precedence over everything.
Wow.
So,
okay.
and like
Yes.
your chart is ruled by Saturn because Capricorn is your ascending.
Right.
That's who you came into this world to be.
Mm-hmm.
you're a Capricorn. And so Saturn, who's the ruler of Capricorn, he rules your whole chart. So he has say in your whole
the
chart.
task. That isn't that the taskmaster though?
Yes. But that's good.
Okay.
It really is.
Okay.
My Saturn is retro, so I have a lot of
Oh.
complications with my Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's taken me 50 years to figure out how to use my Saturn.
Understood. Yep. But then I have that Pisces moon, and that makes me such an empath, and so
Yes.
I get wounded very easily.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Especially in the third house.
Yeah.
I mean, whoa. My mom's a Pisces sun in the 12th house.
Oh.
So, and then she has a Scorpion moon. So
wow, that's something else. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, so she's very emotional, but she's a
Uh-huh.
rising Taurus, so she has this tendency to bottle it in until she just can't hold it on anymore.
Like a bull in a china shop. Then she's going to destroy it.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah.
So, okay. So I wanted to I asked you for 3 questions.
Yep.
And one of them was that you were wanting to know about your partnerships and relationships, which is predominantly in the 7th house. There can be relationships and partnerships in the other houses as well, but that's predominantly where we look at for the relationships. Okay. And it was intriguing because this, again, I'm learning. Your 7th house is empty. There aren't any planets in it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that there's not anything happening. And it doesn't mean that there aren't lessons that you have to learn. So this was a huge learning experience for me.
Sure.
And what I found out is that Cancer, well, I'm a Cancer, so I can relate completely to the energy of this. But sometimes and this will be in retrospect of your relationships with other people. Okay. Possibly even partners in marriage. Yep. That sometimes you'll feel insecure. Sometimes you'll give too much, or you hold in and don't say what you're really feeling. People who have Cancer in the 7th house also get very attached to the people that they're sharing their lives with. Okay. So, you know, a lot of times you'll put them up on a pedestal and you'll want to bubble wrap them and keep them safe. And I get that. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
Being that in my 1st house, I totally understand that completely. Now, natives in this house, it says that they're strongly connected with their spouse, especially for emotional point of view. But there can be moody in their love connection. But this can change as your progress, as everything, your planets start progressing. Okay. Now, realizing when you're talking about a love partner, you have to have their chart too. Right. So that you can compare and see if you're compatible.
I should have done that a long time ago because I have had 4 husbands. The last one that I have now, we've been married almost 22 years.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah, but the first 3, yeah.
I was married once too, and I wish I had done astrology.
I know. Yeah, that's for sure.
So, although I knew immediately, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I knew that a couple of times at least. Yeah.
Didn't listen to my gut instinct.
Yep.
So, and the moon rules Cancer. So your Piscean moon is going to have some influence in your 7th house with partnerships and relationships.
Makes sense.
So it can be really, and you know, Cancer and Pisces are both water planets. So it can be pretty watery. And you know, having partnerships and relationships in water, it can be very emotional.
Of course. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And I don't know. A lot of people say with partnership houses, you a lot of times the best thing to have is like Earth, to have Earth planets or Earth zodiac. You know. Yep. fire can be too aggressive,
Yep.
and then water can be too emotional.
I had my
Oh.
first one was air, second one was fire, third one was earth, and I'm back to air again because I'm with the Gemini. So yeah, and of course
But
Libra's air.
yeah, I mean, but they say that Geminis are very compatible with a lot of zodiacs.
That's true. Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until I started really studying this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh wow. And it's because they're like that Pollux and Castor.
Right.
There's those two sides of them.
Twins. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And so that made sense. And I was like, oh, okay, because they can be versatile.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, the moon is in your third house in Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, it does affect your sixth house of Cancer.
Okay.
And the third house is about mindset, communication, siblings. This house rulership is Gemini.
Oh.
So the planet that rules Gemini is Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So in the third house of the Pisces, you're dealing with an additional sprinkle of Gemini energy. So that probably makes sense of why you and your husband now get along so well.
Right.
That really does.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, other than that, I mean, there's no bad aspects. There's no conjunctions. There's no.
Yeah, I thought that was unusual, isn't it?
Yeah,
I didn't see that. Yeah.
From I would say, it was probably if you'd had your ex-husband's astrology chart. That's probably where you would see a lot of the problems.
I agree. I agree. Yep.
So yeah, so okay. And then let's see, your other question to me was you wanted to talk more in depth about your 12th house of endings, healings, closure, spirituality. Because the 12th house is about endings, spirituality, and you've got your North Node there. And so I mean, that I'm in the same boat. I'm really honing in on my North Node and my Chiron right now, trying to, figure out how to fix it because I don't want to come back.
No, me either. Let's go out with a big bang,
Yeah, I feel like I've been here so many times.
Me too.
And I'm like, okay, I don't want to come back no more. This has been fun, but.
Well, one of my things is I never want to come back again because I don't want to go to junior high school again. I hated it. And, so who needs it, right?
I totally agree with you. So your 12th house is in Sagittarius, which I can relate to because I'm a sun Sag.
Right. Yeah. And
it's energetic. It's a fiery sign. So it's also one of the great travelers, which the great traveler within the 12th house is really good. I mean, that's really good energy.
Yep.
So to me, that's like you're really pushing to try to demystify the unknown.
Right.
And the 12th house is also about undoings. So you're trying to undo bad karma from the past or bad mistakes so that you don't make them, in this lifetime, so that you don't have to come back.
Have to do it all over again. Right.
Yeah. And so that makes perfect sense.
It does.
Being in the 12th house, Sagittarius, they're very sincere, enthusiastic, and you're real easy in the 12th house. You're real easy to change real fast.
I am.
Yep. So
I actually embrace it and love it. And yeah, I do. It's crazy.
Yeah. And of course, with your Pisces moon being down in the third house, I think that really strengthens your psychic abilities.
Okay.
I mean, with your North Node, conjunct your third house moon, that really helps you strengthen your psychic abilities and your search, for the answers in spirituality that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I mean, we're all looking for that.
Right, we are. But
Why we're
I've been on
here.
this quest forever and ever. It feels like it's
Yeah.
just a burning desire that never goes away.
Yeah, I know. My mom said that I've had that quest ever since I was about 8 or 9.
Wow.
And I think that was because, from what I can remember, that was the first experience of death that I remember as a child.
Uh-huh.
Was I was about 8 or 9 when my great grandma died,
Oh,
and I was real close with her.
sure.
And so ever since then, I was always questioning, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how come this and how come that, and my family is in all different kinds of sects of religion.
Right.
You know, my grandparents were Methodist. Some of my aunts were Baptist. Some of them were Lutheran. You know,
Uh-huh.
my mom was more spiritual. She didn't go, you know, she
Right.
did not go to church. She didn't force me to church, but I enjoyed going to the different churches
Sure.
because I wanted to see the different viewpoints. I
That's
enjoyed
exactly the
that.
way I am. Yeah, that's the way
You
I
know,
was.
and I would question. They'd kick me out a lot of times, but
Uh-huh. Oh,
you know,
well.
because I was always
Push the
questioning.
envelope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Well,
funny.
how come? This
Oh,
makes no sense.
uh-huh. That's funny.
I was just kind of going through my notes here. Um, you know, I mean, I think that if you just keep staying on pushing towards your north node like I'm doing and your Chiron,
Mm-hmm.
and balancing your north and your south, you know, using some of your talent from your south, but
Mm-hmm.
pushing towards the north node in the 12th house,
Mm-hmm.
that you know, you're gonna find the answers, or you're gonna at least you're gonna feel content
I
with
do right now, so
with the
I'd like
thing.
to be even more content. But yeah, I
Yeah,
understand. I do.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Good.
So
Good. Yeah. You know, we're only one baby steps, you know,
yeah,
and yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Um, the only difficulties in this house that I was seeing is that Sagittarians sometimes can overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
They may have a desire to push the envelope a little too hard or a little too fast. Um, and so, you know, you just have to kind of hone that energy in a
Wow.
little bit and pull back that Sag, you know, not to push it too fast, too hard, you know, slow it down a little bit.
That's a hard thing for me to do. As a matter of fact, I I have worked at 4 different colleges for the last 12 years and have taught almost triple sometimes the classes full-time professors teach. And I just take them. I just take them and I get them done. And I was when I was doing my prep for the Heart and Soul and some of them said, "You're doing too many in 1 week. Aren't you tired?" And everything. I'm like, "No, yeah, I'm fine." You know,
Yeah,
because when I really love it,
yeah.
it's not an effort. Yeah.
Well, and you got those stelliums that are helping you with all that
I think
energy.
so. My God. Yeah.
My best friend has a stellium in her first house of
Ooh.
Libra, and
Ooh.
she has been a huge inspiration to me the last 15 years because
Mm.
she's like you. She's just always got one project after another, you know,
Uh-huh.
multitasking, doing all these things at once. And I'm just like, I mean, I would get exhausted just watching her. I would
My
be like,
friends
how do
say
you
that.
do all this?
Yeah. Yeah. Even
I,
my husband, he'll say, "What's the matter with you? You're like a robot sometimes, you know."
yeah,
It- Yeah.
yeah, that's her. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I've
Funny.
aspired to try to be as much like her as I can, but
Well, it
it's hard
sounds
to.
like you are, Tisha, because you're doing all these things right now. So you are doing it.
Sometimes I don't feel like it.
I know. I understand.
I'm trying though. I don't really have a lot of info to give you on the 12th house because
That's okay. Yeah.
it's so mystical.
It's a mysterious house. It is. You
Yeah,
know, I
and
will tell you though that I usually always incorporate books and discussions on death and dying, and
yes.
I think that has to do with my 12th house, and isn't
Oh,
it? Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, and
And
it's
your
very
eighth.
big. Yeah, and
And
my
your eighth
eighth.
house.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, because the eighth house can be death and regeneration as
yep,
well.
okay.
So
Yeah,
because it's
I
your
always am.
fourth Yeah, your 4th, your 8th, and your 12th are the real mystical, spiritual. They're
Right.
kind of the occult houses.
Hmm.
I hate that word, but
I know, but I
that's what the
understand it.
ancient the
Yeah, the
ancient
ancients called it.
astrologers called it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, I try to bring it up because I don't think we talk about it enough, and people are afraid of it, and they're afraid to talk about it, and I get them started, and whether or not they continue, that's their business. But
Right.
they're try not to be afraid of it. Try to understand it for what it is. It's just another part of living. So
Oh yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when my dad died in 2019, I was
Oh,
actually prepared. I
were
know
you?
I was because I've had so much death go through my life
Right.
that it prepared me, and my dad's health was declining
Okay.
the last 10 years. So I was prepared as
Hmm.
much as, a
As
person
much as
can
one can
be.
be prepared.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
But when he was laying on his deathbed, I remember my brother, who's on the other side, came through, and I hadn't heard from him in years.
Hmm.
And he came through on the other side, and he said, "Sis, he's not going to let go until you tell him to let go
I
because
know.
he's worried about you."
Yep. Oh my
And
God.
so I
Yep.
remember getting close to my dad, sitting on the bed and
Yep.
telling him, it's okay
You
to
can
go,
go. I told my dad
and
the same
he was
thing.
in so much pain and
Right.
misery, and I was just like, it's okay to go.
Hmm.
And I no more than got up, walked out to go ask the nurse a question, and
He
I
was gone.
heard him take his last breath, and I could feel him leave.
Yep.
And I
He
was
just
like,
needed
oh,
permission. That's all he needed.
yeah,
And yeah, they don't like to have you in the room if they don't, certainly if they don't have that permission. But that was a gift. What
yeah.
a
Well,
gift.
we were at hospice,
Yes,
and the hospice house we were at was phenomenal.
that's
I
good.
mean, they brought me in a bed, and they were bringing in food, and we'd
Mhm.
only been there 5 hours, five
Oh,
hours,
oh, and he
and she's
passed that
like,
fast?
yeah,
Wow.
well,
Wow.
she said, I don't think he's gonna go, for about 3 or 4 days, because I
Mhm.
was trying to figure out, because
Right.
I was trying to call his brothers and sisters and tell them,
Hmm.
okay, we're at hospice now, and the
Hmm.
nurse says we have 3 or 4 days because they live so far away, they needed to make travel arrangements,
Sure. Right. Yeah.
and I was sitting there, and they finally got him all comfortable, and that's when my brother came through, and he was like, you got to tell him it's time to go. And I mean, literally, I told him that. I told him I loved him and everything, and I got up to go ask the nurse a question, and like I said, I heard him take his last breath,
Yep.
and I felt him leave.
Wow.
It
And
was
he's
like he hugged
probably
me.
saying, yeah, he's
It was
probably
like he
saying, I
hugged
don't
me as
want
he
them.
left.
I don't want to wait around for them to come in. It's easier to go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and so then I'm calling his brothers and sisters, and I'm like, well, he's gone now, and they're
Yeah.
like, what? And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
I know.
so
Death waits for no man. Yep.
now in the 12th house, which is very interesting, is Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so
Okay.
you've got some Jupiter energy in there in the 12th.
Hmm.
So, and Jupiter's all about luck, expansion,
Expansion. Yeah.
yeah, and
Hmm.
luck,
Okay.
karma,
Right.
so that's really good energy to harness for the
Hmm.
12th house.
That's
And
great.
then your
And
north node in Sagittarius,
right. Hmm.
that'll bring in all of, once you start harnessing your north node, which I think you're probably doing now, your intuition gets stronger and
Right.
stronger,
Yep.
your abilities, yeah, and,
Abilities.
and it
Yeah.
sounds like you're using that, so
Yeah. Yeah. And I, when I was reticent to open a YouTube channel because I wasn't a reader at the time. I wasn't a psychic at the time. And I thought, well, I could just be who I am and bring
right,
in other people that can talk about that. And now it's being harnessed and I'm working in cooperation with others. So it's been a very good decision
that's
and it's
awesome.
very expanding. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, my guides, when they finally came through last year, they were screaming at me, "You need to
Mhm.
open a YouTube channel. You need to," and I'm like, "For what?" Because at the time, I wasn't
Right.
doing anything
Yeah.
spectacular,
Right.
and so I was like, "Fine, I'll open one." So I opened it up, and
Yeah.
I thought, "Fine, I'll put it in my moon's name."
Uh-huh.
And so I did Aquarius Builder, and it sat there for months and
Sure.
months and months
It
without
was
doing
waiting for
anything.
you. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know what to do.
You're not the only, you know how many people I've talked to that said that?
Yeah.
Me have a YouTube channel? Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I run an animal shelter, and we have one for the animal shelter,
Okay.
and I never really had anything the kids took care of it.
Sure.
You know, the
Yeah.
college kids that volunteered, they
Right.
always took care of it. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I couldn't even tell you what's on that channel. I don't even pay attention to it.
I
So I'm like,
understand.
a YouTube channel? What am I going to do with a YouTube channel?
Oh,
You know,
you're
and
gonna grow, girl.
yeah, it's like, okay, here we are.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, so the little bit that I could get, because we are just now learning about the North Node,
Uh-huh.
and we're just now learning about transits too, and it's fascinating. I can't wait. I'm getting excited. But
Good.
in what I did learn about the North Node being in Sagittarius is the main thing was learning to overcome the feelings of insecurity based on what other people think.
Thank you.
That is the huge lesson that you have to overcome.
Yep.
You know, don't
I
we all?
haven't completely, but I have more so since I've been over 50, over 60. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, I can't please everybody. So, oh, well, what can I
Yeah.
do? You know, but yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think some of that does come with age because you
It
get to a
does.
point where you're like, you just don't care.
Who cares? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm that. I used to be, you know, so, oh, you know, I have to do all this perfect and make everybody happy. And,
Right.
you know, because that's my
And
Cancer and then, you know,
yeah.
my Sag. And it was just like, now I'm like, I just don't care. It's like, this is
No,
how it
to
is.
make yourself happy.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
this is how it
Uh-huh.
is.
Yeah. That's great. Wow.
Okay, now this was interesting. I found in one of the books was in ancient astrology, it was taught that those that were born with the North Node in the 12th house were here to sacrifice for the greater good and have incarnated to demonstrate compassion and unconditional love for the human race. So I was
Wow.
like, wow, that's
You
really
know,
profound and deep, you know.
do you know that last night I just did an episode with Lilac Lantern on compassion and empathy? Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And it says, you know, you're going to help others by you're going to help others heal by bringing in other people, which that's what you've been doing,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
healing yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
So the only thing you have to watch out for is that in the 6th house where your South Node is, sometimes it can bring in a lot of health problems.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of keep an eye on that. I'm the same. I got this.
I tend to have stomach issues, and I've had stomach issues all week, actually.
Yep.
It could be something else, but I feel everything there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I'm starting to believe that it's the energy around us
Mhm.
that we're absorbing.
Right.
Because my Aquarian moon got hit last week, and a couple of days before the big Aquarian moon came,
Right.
I felt this dark energy just starting to drop on the planet.
Yep.
And I just didn't want to eat. My stomach was hurting really bad,
Wow.
you know,
Okay.
everything.
Wow.
And it's just been the last couple of days that it's starting to lift and I'm starting to feel a little better.
Okay.
But so I've been trying to
Fascinating.
meditate more,
Okay.
not so much as to reach and talk to my guides, more trying to release a lot of this negative energy and
Mhm.
you know just the dark
Shake it off.
energy. Yeah.
Take it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I've been
Awesome.
trying to do that a lot more lately, and I noticed that my stomach issues are starting to
Good.
get
I'll
better.
have to work on that.
So,
Okay. Good.
yeah,
Good advice. Good.
I'm in the same boat there
Uh-huh.
because I got
Right.
my South Node there too.
Yeah. And you've got Cancer in there, which rules the stomach, right?
Yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep,
There you go.
yep,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay, and then your last question was more in depth about your Chiron in the 2nd house.
Okay.
And the 2nd house is about money, home, your income, your work,
Mhm.
things like that.
Yep.
and Chiron isn't actually a planet. It's just
Right.
a mythological figure. It's an asteroid, but it's a mythological figure from ancient astrology.
Okay.
And it's what we have deep inside us that contains our most inner sense of wounds.
Mm.
And it where the Chiron is placed in your zodiac chart um, shows you yourself where your deepest wounds are. And your wounds, these wounds can be from past life,
Past lives. Okay.
as well as this life, and or it can be a combination of
Combination.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and yours was where'd your chart go? Second house of money. Yep, which is Aquarius. So you have that Aquarian energy, which Aquarian energy, because that's my moon, is more analytical.
Okay.
It isn't the emotions of the Cancer, you know, or the Virgo. It's more, it has to evaluate everything and research and, you know, just her. Yeah. So
Guilty.
yeah.
And Libra, you know, with the balance shit over and over again. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I totally get that. And Chiron, when we hit the big 5-0, it returns to the very place it was when we were first born.
Okay.
And so usually by that time you've released a lot of your childhood toxins that you've had.
Okay.
As well as possibly a little bit of your past lives.
Oh, okay.
Your past lives of wounds. So, yay!
I know. So now I'm 16 again because I'll be 66. You see?
Yeah. Oh my gosh! I was watching this one astrologer the other day on YouTube, and it was hilarious. She said that if you go to the place that you were born, you can reset your chart.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, how fascinating that was and how cool that would be. And then I stopped and thought about it. I'm like, I don't want to do this all again.
Well, it's the same way with a progress chart, so that if you were looking at my, you know, my past, you're looking in the area where I live. But then if you looked at my progress chart, you'd have to do it like I was born in the Seattle area. Isn't that right? Because now I take on is that what progress charts do?
No, I mean, it would change. Yes, your location would change. Some of it slightly, but not all of it.
Okay. Okay.
So, and I'm not there yet on how.
But it sounds fascinating, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. We're just now starting to touch in on the transits. So
that's excellent. Okay. Well, I'll have you back.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, in the gift that you have in the second house with your Chiron is that you have a healing journey involving the search for connection, belonging, and community. And your gift is objectivity. So it's standing back and seeing the whole picture.
Okay.
And through increasing your knowledge of the world and creating a larger perspective of life, you can start to see how everything interconnects.
Right.
And then you can see how to connect yourself with the whole and find your place in the world. So it says if you spend alone time to connect with the universe, you're going to get more of, you know, the direction and the big picture.
Okay.
So,
because I really do feel like we've done, a lot of us are building this community that is, you know, with Renee and all that, and how we've come together and support each other, and that's a good community. It's a great feeling. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
I guess I should have put your chart up while we were talking about it. I didn't even think about it.
That's all right.
But I can share it with everyone real quick.
Okay. I just find it funny. I've always found it funny that I was lopsided. You know what I'm saying? Like everything is up in this area and not anything really down in this area. So
yeah, and you have what we call a Now the name escaped me. It's a pale.
Mm-hmm.
Was that right? That's what they call it.
Oh, okay.
The
Pale?
special character of how your chart is done
Okay.
because of all your planets at the top.
Yeah.
So, but and having all those planets at the top, it can also, for some of the planets, it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Because there are some of these planets in a day chart, because that's what yours is, that don't like being above the horizon.
Okay.
So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I have the same problem with mine.
That's funny.
I was trying to find the chart signature of, here it is. Yeah, you've got a day chart. And then the problem, you may have problems with Venus and Mars because they're not in their preferred location.
Okay.
So you have a bucket chart.
Oh, a bucket chart. Okay.
That's what we call it.
Okay.
It looks like a bucket.
It does, like a handle and below is
right.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
Yeah, because you don't actually count the AC or the Chiron, which is the KO,
Right.
or your north node or your south node as planets.
Right. Right.
You're just looking at your moon and then the planets at the top.
Uh-huh.
So, and let's see, and yeah, your whole chart is ruled by Saturn, which is really good. Because Saturn can bring struggles and challenges, but it can also, when you get through those challenges, you get big gifts.
Oh, okay.
So and I'm sure you've learned that. I mean,
I've gone through some really shitty times, I tell you, and managed to get through them. So yeah, but I know everybody does. It isn't just me, Yeah.
No, we all
have some crap to bear. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, and then I did have one little surprise.
Okay.
Cool. We've been working on transits the last week, so I wanted to surprise you. I did do a little transit.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So let me share it.
Okay.
This is the transit for today. This is where you see your chart on the inside, all your planets. Yep. And then on the outside, where they're green and the blue, that's where the planets are today. That's as of this afternoon.
Alrighty.
So that kind of shows you, like the moon was actually down in Aries, the Chiron's down in Aries, Neptune's in Pisces. Jupiter is retroing back into Aquarius. You can see where they're all at, and then you could see, like, well, what's affecting me today? What's going to affect me tomorrow?
Yeah.
And you can go to this astro.com.
I love it.
Do your natal chart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can plug in a transit date for tomorrow, Friday, whatever. And then look at where everything's going to be, and you can see what kind of day is it going to be.
Wow. Isn't that awesome? Very good.
And there was one thing on, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. There was one thing on the chart for today I wanted. It was Mercury. Where's Mercury? There's Mercury. Yeah. Mercury and the Sun in your 8th house with Jupiter, Pluto. Nope, that wasn't it. Where'd it go? Oh, Mars. That's it. See Mars and at the top above Virgo? Above in the 9th house. See how Mars is starting to go into Virgo? Actually, I think it did. Yeah, it went. Yeah, it's in Virgo. Didn't it? Nope, not quite yet. Almost. It's at 29 degrees Leo. So here in the next couple days, it's going to be in Virgo. And then your Venus is in Virgo. up here, or the universe Venus, I should say.
Right. Okay.
Your Mars is at 21 degrees. You're going to have Mars in about a month, because it's kind of moving slow. You'll have a Mars return.
Oh.
So Mars will hit your natal Mars.
Okay. And that would
And then
suggest.
what you could see is you've got some good trines here, like over to Saturn.
Okay.
You've got a trine down here to your Chiron, the blue mark.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like really good energy that you can take
Okay.
advantage of.
Wonderful. Well, my
And then you have an
husband's trying
in
to buy a place.
conjunction. Yeah, you have an in conjunction with Mars and Pluto.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good energy to use on too.
Excellent.
So yeah, we have what they call honeycomb calendars that we print out as astrologers to track every day where the planets are against our natal chart.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to get a feel for and to be able to identify more of that energy every day. So
Wow.
it's really fascinating to me, because I'm really starting to identify, oh, that's what Venus feels like. Oh, that's what Venus conjunct
Okay.
Mars feels like. You know, I'm
Uh-huh.
really starting to identify the different
Excellent.
kinds of energy.
So if you have a Mars having a return, and the Mars, is that power? Is that what that is? Or is
Yeah, it gives you action. Mars is
action?
action. It's an action planet.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it'll give you that
Okay.
action to do,
What I
you
need
know,
to do.
whatever it is you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
So, but
Very good.
remember, Mars is not very happy about being in Virgo.
Probably
So
not. No.
you have to work a little harder to use your Mars.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
But this conjunct that you've got is really good. I mean, you can really use that to work on your Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use your Saturn to help, and your Pluto to help you with that.
That's really good, because we're trying to buy this practice and everything has been shut down for so long, and we're trying to get a door to open. So if the door opens on its own, so to speak, with some planetary action, that would be nice. Yeah. Wow.
If I knew enough about transit. Oh, I got one more. I got one more for you.
Okay. Wonderful.
So, okay, this is a little chart I came up with.
Okay.
This is what I call your Venus return.
All right.
And this is where your Venus says, let's get it on.
Boy, it would be nice. It's been a while.
So, I hear you.
Yeah.
So, what I did is, for you, now I don't know your husband's chart at all, but for you, for the optimum day, I mean, this is actually an excellent time frame to rekindle when you guys fell in love.
Oh,
you know, just
that
to
would be
have,
so nice. Yeah.
just to have, you know, that alone time together that's really sentimental and loving. August 22nd through August 30th.
Oh, that's excellent.
I would plan a day somewhere in there for just you and your hubby.
Okay.
Be alone and have a romantic date, you know.
Excellent. All right. That time frame works for me as well, actually.
Yeah, because
a lot burning on my
and it'll I mean, you're just gonna have so many excellent planet alignments for that.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you're gonna feel good. You know, Venus just when I was sitting here doing your charts and everything, Venus kept screaming at me. Sometimes the planets talk to me. Yeah, sometimes the planets talk to me. And Venus kept telling me that she was going to return, and I needed to look at that. So I finally did.
Thank you. My husband thanks you.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes, that would be an optimum day for romantic day for you two.
Awesome.
You know, a week.
Yeah,
whatever.
a week, whatever. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Tisha. Oh, wow. This has been fabulous. And I know you're just still the student, basically getting, and you just finished doing a lot of different charts. So would you say that you wouldn't start taking people until after November, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't, we're just now getting into the transits.
Right,
So
I know.
I have no idea.
Right,
I know we're going to be into the transits, and then we're going to go into the progressions.
right.
I think in September.
Oh, all right.
So,
Yeah,
maybe October. I'm not sure.
okay.
It's hard to tell.
Well, just so my viewers can know that you can find Tisha on Aquarius Builder on YouTube, and I will post your YouTube channel
Thank you.
information, and they can reach you also at the Tarot Love Community. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
try to post some things from time to time, especially on the
Yes.
moons.
Yes.
Yeah, the moon rules my chart, so I'm really drawn to the moon. So I really try to tell everyone about the new moon and
Mm-hmm.
the full moon, and
Yeah. I think it's wonderful. We all need to know, and we need to know, what we should be doing on those moons as well.
Well, and I'm learning.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because there are a lot of things that I'm learning that, oh wow, I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
I know. Well, I'm still learning, and I'm older than you. So,
Well,
if we
it's
aren't
these,
learning, then, what's the
yeah,
point?
well, and I think it's a lot of traditions that have been lost,
I agree. No, I do.
through
Yeah.
the centuries. We've lost
Absolutely.
these traditions that, I think the Indians are a great example of ones that have kept the
Yes.
traditions going.
Right.
And for
Right.
some reason, we
I
got
know.
rid of them.
We got too busy because we
Yeah,
wanted our beer and to watch sports and all those other things.
I guess.
Yeah, I know. Not everybody does, I realize, but there are very big distractions, and it's
Yes.
unfortunate because I think that there's a lot there that can be realized. Yeah. So
I agree with you.
thank you. Very good. Well, thank you
Well,
so
thank
much. I know it's
you.
late night there where you are. I
Yes.
thank you for doing this, and I so appreciate, especially the last thing you told me. And but I loved
Oh,
it
it
all.
was my honor.
Loved it all.
I love doing this.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Well, I enjoyed it a great deal. So
thank
thank you
you.
very much, honey. All right. Let me see if I get the right. All right, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.